that evolution has no plan or purpose and that evolution's run by blind chance, they can. But this is a belief, and it's not a scientific notion. When it comes to the word teleology, notice what we can do and the question we can ask. Could it be that evolution is teleological, meaning that evolution has an ultimate plan or purpose? And in fact, that this plan or purpose could be rooted in a God who set up evolution as his process to create the world. As well, notice what we can do with the professional definitions of evolution and creation. For example, I am an individual who is a creationist. I believe in a creator. That's the professional approach to the term creation. I am also an evolutionist, meaning that as a biologist, I look at the world and it's clear to me that the world arose through a natural process of evolution. So, with that being the case, that then would make me a teleological evolutionist. I believe that God is behind the evolutionary process. In talking about origins, we also have to talk about the relationship between science and religion. Science, as many will agree, is about observations and experiments, from which we get theories and laws about the natural world. Now, when we finish doing our scientific work, and we all do this, we ask larger questions. What do we make of the things we've discovered in the laboratory? And we make, if you wish, a jump upward into the realm of our ultimate beliefs, our religious and philosophical beliefs. Now, there's no mathematical formula that can take us from science to our ultimate beliefs. Some people, this process is a very quick process. It's an intuitive process. For others, it's more of a slow process in which they reason out different arguments to come to ultimate beliefs. And if you wish, it could be seen as a step of faith. We all make a jump from the scientific evidence. Our paradigm in the relationship between science and religion offers us the opportunity to deal with a term we hear a lot about in our culture, intelligent design. Now, I'd like to begin with the traditional and biblical understanding of intelligent design. And it's this: it is a belief. No, it's not a scientific theory like many people today are suggesting. Rather, intelligent design is a belief that beauty, complexity, and functionality in nature point to an intelligent designer. Let me give you an example. Let's use the standard cell. The standard cell is very small. It's about 1/1000th of an inch. If you put it on the tip of a pin, you wouldn't be able to see it. In that single cell, if you stretched out all the DNA, you'd get about a yard of DNA. And on that yard of DNA, you could determine that there is the information content that's equivalent to an encyclopedia that's 30 volumes long. Okay, that's the scientific evidence, period. Now, we all ask the question, what do we make of this? Is there some sort of amazing engineering mind behind the cell? Well, some individuals, like the famous atheist Richard Dawkins, he would say intelligent design is ultimately a delusion, and the world in the cell is just teleological. But the thing that needs to be pointed out is there's no mathematical formula from science to Dawkins's ultimate belief. Richard Dawkins has to take a step of faith. In other words, he has to take a jump from the scientific evidence. I, on the other hand, when I look at this spectacular engineering marvel that we call the cell, it strikes me as there's some sort of mind, an amazing engineering mind behind it all. And so intelligent design for me is very real, and I see the cell as being ultimately teleological with plan and purpose. The thing to note. Both the atheist like Dawkins and the Christian like me takes a step of faith. There is no mathematical formula to go from our science to our ultimate beliefs. And of course, the fascinating question is who makes the best, if you wish, the most rational step of faith from the scientific data to come to our ultimate conclusions on the nature of the cell? Please take your handout and turn it over to the back page. There you will find 5 basic views on the origin of the universe and life. Now, are there more than 5 positions on origins? Of course, there are many, many, many more. However, what this chart does is to help us organize these varying views. A way to think about the chart is to think of a rainbow. Now, when it comes to a rainbow, you know there's an inordinate number of different shades and hues of different colors. If we tried to describe a rainbow, we could use children's plasticine and with 5 basic colors get a reasonable representation of what a rainbow is. So the chart is very similar to this. It is simply an instructional tool. It helps us to start organizing the varying views of origins. Just a few more comments about the chart. Firstly, you will note that there is a Christian bias. Why is that? Well, the vast majority of religious people in the origins debate happen to be Christians. However, if you come from a different religious tradition, you can certainly use this chart by incorporating your religious views. Second, if you happen to like certain features from one position and then some features from a different position, well then I certainly invite you to mix and match. That's perfectly acceptable. Remember what my central point is in this presentation. There are way more than just 2 positions. Next, let's look at some of the features on the left side of the chart. In every origins position, we will determine whether a position embraces teleology, that is, whether there is plan or purpose. Next, we'll look at intelligent design, whether beauty, complexity, and functionality point to a designer. Then we'll look at the age of the universe, whether it's old or young. Then we'll look at the evolution of life, whether a position accepts it or not. Now, if you have a pencil, please draw some lines for me here. Please distinguish between God's activity in the origin of the universe and life from God's activity in the lives of men and women. It's important that we separate and not conflate these together. This is another regrettable conflation where people blend these 2 ideas into simply one category called miracles. Next, we'll look at the nature of the Bible, whether it's indeed God's Word. Then we'll look at the opening 11 chapters of the Bible. We'll look at human origins, whether a position accepts human evolution or whether a position believes that we all descend from Adam and Eve. Then we'll look at the theology and philosophy of a position, its ethics, and give you a few examples. Our first position is young earth creation. Many people today see this position as the creationist position, and many Christians believe that it is the Christian position. It's also known as creation science. What do young earth creationists believe? They accept teleology. Plan and purpose in the universe are real, and plan and purpose are rooted in God. Intelligent design, they also accept, where nature points to a creative mind through its beauty, complexity, and functionality.